Yes. Welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hustle Smart.
Welcome back.
So today we got Javen from SpectrumFit.
Yes.
And for those who don't know you, please introduce yourself. Please tell the people about yourself.
Yes, man. My name's Javen. I'm an online fitness coach from South London. I run a company called SpectrumFit. My signature program is called the Optimized Athlete Program. And yeah, man, I've been doing that for the past 3 years now.
Nice.
2.5 years, something like that. So yeah, man.
Nice. So where did it all start? Even just in terms of your journey.
Yeah,
from young, what were you kind of into?
So I've always been sports, innit? Football.
Nice.
So
Okay.
from young, I got signed by Crystal Palace when I was 8.
Oh wow.
And then I was there for 10 years, so from 8 to 18. When I was 16, done my GCSEs, all that, I was offered a scholarship when I was 14. So when I was 16, I already knew I wasn't going to continue education. Innit?
Okay,
I already knew I was done. So when I was 16, I went full-time. So I had a full-time deal. And then, yeah, man, 2 years, didn't get a professional contract. I had knee surgery in my last year. And then, yeah, from there, I wasn't really sure. You know, you hear the story about young boys.
The knees,
Yeah. I'm literally that meme, innit? That meme when they talk about, I'm literally that meme, innit? I could have made it if I didn't hurt my knee. So, but then after that, I had the knee surgery and then I ended up moving to the States.
Okay.
So I got offered a scholarship out in the States. So
Was that studying at uni or?
yeah. So I went to college out there. So I played 2 years in New Jersey. Then I went to Atlanta for 2 years. That was good.
How was that experience for you? Was it kind of just like you're chasing the dream, so you do whatever it takes, or was it like a big decision?
So, do you want me to go to like the details?
Yeah,
Okay.
man. Yeah.
So basically, I'll talk about Palace, innit? Because that's where things were, where the dream was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, the club was in such a mad transition. So when I first signed for Palace, we was a championship club. So when I had my first year, when I was 16 and I went in as a full-time scholar, my first year we were still in the championship, but we had a mad season and got promoted.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to the Prem. In that year, basically, the way that I like to describe it was like the first team outgrew the club. Because anybody who knows, anybody who's been involved in football, they'll know Crystal Palace's training ground. Everything was rubbish, bro. It was crap. So
their training grounds on ends, isn't it?
Yeah. Beckenham. So now it's really nice. Now it's sick. But obviously they've been in the Prem for some years now. But back then it was crap, right? So the first team outgrew the actual club.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have any facilities. And then in my second year, it was a Premier League club. They signed about 20 first team players. And then on top of that, Tony Pulis became the manager, and anybody who watches football, they'll know Tony Pulis is quite a militant guy. He basically come in and he was like, we don't want the youth team on premises, bro. So I remember that year, we trained at about 15 different places in South London. We were training in parks. I remember one session we was training, and this is a Premier League club at this point. We're training. There was a dog, on my life, a dog ran in during the session. So all these things were happening in my last year where I needed to get a professional contract, where it's mad. So yeah, that year was it was hard, innit? For everybody. Even some of the best players that were probably more talented than me, didn't even really move on. So yeah, we got basically banned from the training ground. We weren't allowed to use the pitches. We weren't allowed to use the gym. We weren't even allowed to have breakfast with the first team anymore. Before, in my first year, we used to have breakfast with the first team. So I'll be chilling with Wilf, I'll be chilling with Balassi, whatever. We're just chilling, eating breakfast, and it's cool. Second year, they're like, we can't even chill with them anymore.
Wow.
So it was weird because when you're in football, you're always told, you need to do extra work. And I'm a man, I love to do extra training, innit? That's kind of how I've got into what I do now, because I just love to do extras. So when we're training at other places, obviously we're getting on a minibus and going. So we can't stay half an hour and do extra shooting or something like that. So we're having to come back. So sometimes we'll come back and I'll be like, okay, well, I need to go. I want to do extras, innit? Work on my left foot or whatever. I'll go on the pitch and I'll do some left foot. I've got assistant managers coming out shouting at man, Jav, get back inside. You're not allowed to be on the pitch. I'm just thinking, bro, how am I supposed to get better, innit?
Yeah.
But obviously the mistake, not looking back on it, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I still could have done extras outside of the club. I didn't, but obviously when you're young, you're just like, this is annoying me.
Yeah.
You're not thinking like that. And if you ain't got the right mentors or someone who's been there before you, so when that happened, I was just like, I already knew this year was just not a write-off, but I knew it wasn't going too well,
Yeah.
even if I was scoring goals or whatever. So when that season ended, so David Moyes, his son was actually my agent at the time.
Okay.
And he had told me maybe like 4 or 6 weeks before I got told I wasn't getting a new deal. So I already knew that I wasn't going to get a deal. So they called me into the meeting, all that stuff. They're like, cool, we're not going to extend your contract, blah, blah, blah. But at that time, I had to get knee surgery. So I'm just thinking, all right, cool, I just need to get ready for whatever's next. When I had the surgery, season's done now, isn't it? I've had the surgery. And when I had the surgery, the surgeon told me I've got 8 weeks till I can get back into playing and that.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I need to get a club, so I ain't really got 8 weeks to sit around. I had an offer from Yeovil, the first team. They were in League One at the time to do pre-season with the first team in 6 weeks. So I'm just thinking, I'm going to do everything I can. Crystal Palace still letting me do training there to get fit, working with the physios. So I went to Yeovil like 6 weeks in, but my knee was like, it was like a balloon. Like, it was mad. So didn't get nothing there. Honestly, that summer, so that would have been, I don't even remember now. It would have been a long time ago. But that summer, I went to about maybe 6 or 7 different clubs. And
At like 17 years old?
18, I was 18, yeah. And I
Okay.
went to about, 6 or 7 different clubs. And I was scoring goals. On every trial I went to, I was scoring. And then like managers would be like, oh, we ain't got a budget, blah, blah, blah. And just the typical things you hear, man, when young boys get released and they're trying to find a club. So in my mind, I was just like, well, there's nothing really here for me, man. Like, I had no real desire to stay in England, innit? Like, for me, I just didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
So the move was a big decision to go to the States, but a little bit of it was born out of fear as well, because everyone that knew me, they're like, right, Jav kicks ball, like that's my thing. I'm thinking, I'm not going to work.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
going to go
yeah,
work.
yeah.
I don't want to go back to school. Like,
Yeah.
I kick ball like other
Yeah, for
footballer.
sure.
So for me, it was just like I couldn't see myself doing anything else. And I didn't want to play non-league. I didn't want to do all of that. And I didn't have anyone to tell me, rah, just go play non-league and come back up in 2 years, something like that. No one told me that.
Yeah.
No one in my family kicks ball.
Yeah. It's
So-
hard.
And then the agent thing is like, when the agent sees that you're not,
Yeah.
they don't care about you anymore.
When you don't
so-
bring value in as much
Yeah,
as the others.
Exactly. So you don't get no attention anyway. So yeah, I had no one really telling me, look, go play non-league for 2 years, score some goals, you'll be back. So I was like, let me just go to America, man. Like, get away from here. So it was a little bit of fear. Now that I look at it, like when I really think deep into my heart, like it's probably fearful. I didn't know what to do next in it. So, but I don't regret it though.
Yeah,
I
for
went out
sure.
there. It was different. Life
Yeah, I
out
can
there.
imagine.
Yeah. In the States, it's different, man. So
I can imagine.
yeah, so yeah, I went out there and then so I went to New Jersey for 2 years. So in America, the way they do sports is obviously a lot different. They got college sports in it. So you got the NCAA, which is sort of like the Football Association in England, like it's the governing body. And then you've got D1, Division 1, D2, D3. So I went to a D1 school straight away
Nice.
in New Jersey. So I got there, it was cold, snowing, like I never seen so much snow in my life.
Oh, wow.
But over there, they don't, obviously football is not their sport.
Yeah.
So over there, it's just fitness, innit? It's how
Okay.
physical you are. So bare running, like it was mad. It was mad. I hated it, honestly. I hated it, but I enjoyed the social side because America, college campus is just, even if you're at a small college, it's just unreal, bro. Like the sororities, I can't remember what the guy ones are called, the fraternities, like all that stuff you see like in the movies and that where they're shaving their head and they're doing the dances. That stuff's real.
Oh,
Yeah, that stuff's
it's
real.
mad.
So like it's mad. Like when people are doing initiations, like you could have let's say we're all friends, and you guys are gonna join a fraternity.
Yeah.
You guys will just start. You guys will do whatever they tell you.
Yeah.
So if I'm not involved, sometimes what happens is people will just like they won't talk. They're not allowed to talk to anybody apart from people in the fraternity.
Yeah.
So I could be chatting to you, man, every day. Then one day you lot see me and you lot just start ignoring me because I'm not a part of it.
Yeah,
And they'll
that's
do
mad.
that for a certain amount of time. But they're not allowed to tell you.
Yeah.
So they can't tell you that they're doing it. Then one day you'll see everyone gathering in like a communal area, and you'll see like all the guys with hoods on, like balaclavas on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they'll the boss like come over, take it all off, innit? And they're all there, they're all dancing, got shaved heads, like it's mad.
Movies,
mad.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I watched Burning Sands.
Yeah,
that's
exactly what it is.
crazy.
Yeah, so it's mad, bro. And then like that's real. Then when that's over, they can chat to you again.
Yeah.
So like that stuff's real,
With
innit?
their
I even
jackets.
had, bruv, I even had a girl. So I was seeing one girl, and then like I seen one girl in New Jersey, and I used to sit in the library a lot, innit? 'Cause I just sit in there, read, write, and I seen this one girl, like we're seeing each other all the time. Then one day I just noticed she's just airing, man, innit? And then I see her. She looked at me dead in the eyes, bro, and just walked past me, innit? I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, she just walked past. I was just like, rah. 2 weeks later, I see, she's a part of a sorority, innit? Then she's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you. So yeah, like that was all new to me, innit? That was just mad. Like, oops. And people take that stuff like so serious, especially like in the black community over there. It's mad. So I did 2 years in Jersey. I was like, nah, I didn't like it. Went to Atlanta. Now, everything I just told you in Atlanta is 10 times bigger. The sororities, so you see the Burning Sands movie, you see how one of the brothers dies, isn't it? So one of the fraternities in the uni that I went to, so they actually killed someone as well. So they actually got banned from the campus. So something like that happened. Like in the initiation, they like beat him up so bad. He had like internal bleeding. It's mad, innit? And they call it Hell Night. Yeah, so that stuff's real, man. But when I went to Atlanta, yeah, that was different because when I was in New Jersey, it was in like the suburbs or like, I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't in like a city area. When I went to Atlanta, the university, the campus is actually in the city. So like the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, like all of these things, like the baseball stadium, all that stuff is like literally all in the area. Like, so when I'm there, like it's like I went to university in central London. That's what it felt like. So my apartment was there. I'll go out. You like it was just different. The lifestyle was different. Plus Atlanta's hot. And Atlanta's like the only black owned city in the world, like major city in the world, really. So it's a different feeling when you go somewhere like, I don't know, you go to the corner. You know, they go to like sweet shop here, it's just probably an Asian person, something like that. Like you go there, it's just all black people. So it's a different experience, man.
How important was traveling young in like your journey right now? Because like I've been quite fortunate to travel a bit as well, but it's like once you see that the world is way bigger than London, way bigger than UK, like there's so many different things and possibilities. Like how did that play into kind of where you are now, your mindset now?
So it's a good question. I would say like I always knew growing up, that like London is like this is not everything for us, you know.
It's such a bubble, right?
It's such a bubble. But I always kind of knew that because of football. Because I was at Palace, we got to travel a lot.
Oh yeah, good.
We'd be going to like France, Belgium, Italy. I remember we went to a tournament in Switzerland. So I got to see a lot of the world from 12 years old, which was a blessing. So I kind of always knew. But going to America and living away was different. That's different because I didn't have a base. Like, if things were messing up, I couldn't just run to my mum or my dad. You get me? Like that was all gone in it. So that was different because, like, I guess in the process you become more of a man. You're navigating things on your own, money. So yeah, like in terms of what I do now, the benefit is that because I coach online, I can reach out to people in the States and the UK. So from a business perspective, it's actually really good for me. So yeah, man.
So like, at what point would you like, you know what, forget it, like football's not working out, I'm going to come back to the UK and then just pursue something else?
So probably in like my third year out there, I was kind of in the mindset of, well, I'm going to stay, but I'm only going to stay if I get offered a contract. So in the States, obviously they do the draft, right? And the same thing happens in football, but obviously it's nowhere near as big. But it's very, very hard for international student to get drafted. Because in the MLS, they have what they call designated players, and that's where all the money goes to like the major international players. So someone like David Beckham goes to a team, he's going to be a designated player, and they only have a limited amount of slots. So to get drafted as an international student, you got to be, I don't know, you have to score like 50 goals or something mad in it, like in a season or something. So I already knew probably not going to get drafted. I could stay and maybe play in a lower league and all that stuff. But in my mind, I'm always like, well, if I'm going to play in a lower league and not get as much money, I might as well just come home and play non-league, innit? So I just told myself, I'm either gonna go into a football agency and start scouting in that, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna come and play non-league. So probably in my third year, I knew that. In my fourth year, I actually tore something in my knee again,
Yeah.
in the same knee that I had surgery on
Oh.
when I left Palace.
Jesus.
So I dislocated my shoulder, tore something in my knee in the same season. So I was just like, yeah, this is long. Like my body's falling apart.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, I decided to come home because I was like, I'm just gonna try and pursue the football agency thing.
Yeah.
So I came home, and then yeah, man, that I just like yeah.
Did you
football's long.
pursue the football agency? How long?
So I still kind of do a little bit of part-time scouting now, but so I came back and I knew I had to get surgery, so I didn't play any football. I was still going to play non-league, but I didn't play at the time because I had to get surgery. So what I did was, at the time, obviously I'd been away, so what you realize when you're away is like people move on, bro. Like people, like I come back here.
The world keeps spinning.
Yeah, everyone's
like,
doing their thing, bro.
yeah,
Like my friends are working or kicking ball. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so no one cares about me just coming back from London. Like I think it's a big deal. I'm back, but no one gives a shit. So I come back and I'm like, okay, I need to contact all my old agents, like anyone, just offer me. I was willing to do anything just to get started in it.
Yeah.
So I had meetings with like Rio Ferdinand's agency. I had meetings with bare different agencies in it, and I finally got I finally got like a recruitment role with an agency called Coda, and they basically worked in a music game, so they were called Coda Music Agency. They've actually changed their name now to Paradigm, and they work with like big names like Dave, Stormzy, but like they're like the booking agents, but they're moving into football. So they're like, yeah, cool, you can come do the recruitment side of things. But I realized very quickly when it comes to scouting in football, there's not a lot of money at the start. You've got to be.
There's a lot of startup costs on your end, a lot of time.
Exactly.
Not quite in terms of remuneration either. Yeah.
So there's no money.
Yeah.
And I've just come back from 4 years of being in the States, and I couldn't work because you're an international student, you can't work. So I wasn't making any money anyway. I was just studying and playing football and getting everything paid for me. But I wasn't making any profit, like money in my bank. So I'm just thinking, I love football, but this is long. Like traveling to games, 2 games a week, 3 games a week. And you got to build up a portfolio of players. And you start when they're young, and then you've got to wait till they're old enough to get a good move, or someone's got to buy them. Then you get commission. So it's a 3 or 4 year game. So I don't have 3 or 4 years at this current moment. Maybe when I'm a bit older, I've got enough money, capital saved to do what I want to do. But I didn't have that. So I still do it now. Like, still go to games and that, but just not to the same intensity that I was doing at the start. So then,
I get you. Quick one for any of our listeners that may be playing football or maybe kind of in a similar position you were a couple of years ago where they got released looking for a current team. What kind of advice do you have for them?
Boy, so what I would say now is like, if I was an academy player now and I got let go, I would just go to a non-league team straight away. So that was probably not a mistake. Like it is a mistake, but it's not something that I sit and regret or think about. But if I could do it again and just replay this scenario, I would have just said, someone should have just told me, Jav, shut up. You're not as good as you think you are. Go down and play non-league, score goals, and you'll get back into a pro club. That's what I should have done. Yeah. Because at the time, like, I was still young. I still had the vibrancy. I still had the energy, and I still had the love for the game. Yeah. When you get older, you don't love it as much, innit? So that's what I would say to a young lad. Just go to a non-league, man. Just don't, like...
Humility is key.
Yeah, you've got to be humble, man, because just because you was at a Premier League club or something doesn't mean that you're special. Like, you ain't got no first team appearances. You ain't got a big contract. Go get a part-time job. Go, and it's best to do it when you're young. When you're 18, you ain't got nothing to lose. Maybe you can study as well, study part-time, whatever.
Time's still on your side.
You got nothing to lose. So even if you do dedicate yourself 4 years, say I'm 18, I'm going to keep going until I'm 22. If I don't do it in 4 years and I'm training hard, then cool. At least you gave it a shot. So that's what I would say, man. Just keep going.
So then, how did you then find fitness? I mean, you know what? I want to go be a personal trainer / online fitness coach. Yeah, so that basically when I came back to London, obviously like I was saying, I was trying to do the scouting thing. Yeah. But my best friend Michael, he was a PT at the time. Yeah. Or he just started PTing, and I had about
I had about 10 different jobs when I come back to London. Like I was working in like a school gym, like closing the facility down. I was working in Nuffield Health. I was as a duty manager. So like I wasn't qualified, so I couldn't do anything. I could only like, as a duty manager, you basically, it's like you manage a leisure centre. Like I just close it and open it and basically make sure all the complaints are dealt with. So that was terrible. And then what else was I doing? So I was working like 2 or 3 different jobs, but nothing that I actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then because my boy was doing a PT, and I just thought, you know what, I've always loved fitness, innit? So when it comes to football, I'm a man. Yeah, anybody that asks me, Jab's doing extras, innit? I'm staying behind. I'll do extra running. I'll do extra. I've always loved to just do extra bit of work.
Yeah.
So the same kind of thing applied to fitness. Because like when Palace told me, oh, you're not allowed to use a gym, the first thing I did was I just bought a gym membership. So like, I've always been someone that loved to train, innit?
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that. I just didn't really, but at the time I wasn't PTing. So I didn't really start PTing until a year later. So I got qualified with my level 2 and I started teaching gym classes. So that's really where it started, in like the back end of 2019.
Yeah.
At a gym called F45. It's like a really popular chain in London. So it's massive. So I was working in Liverpool Street. And then that's when I really started to pick it up. And the manager was like really helpful because he just gave me bare like advice. He gave me a lot of freedom. You know, sometimes you get a manager and he's like, do this.
Yeah.
He was like, you can work in sales if you want. You can help with the marketing. You can do videos. And because he gave me the freedom, I got to see how
360 experience.
I got to see, and F45 is a massive franchise.
Yeah.
They turn over millions. So he just gave me an insight and just the freedom, and I was just like, okay, like now I can see how things work. How can I do this on my own? And then really, what really hit the accelerator button was the pandemic. That's when it was like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of digital classes,
or just peak.
Yeah. Just
so,
kind of everyone getting more into fitness at home and stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. So the basically, when the pandemic happened, so I tell you, I'll be straight up with the money in that, yeah. So I was teaching F45. I was doing about 14 to 16 classes a week, and you get paid about £30-35 per class. So I was doing that, and I was working for an app fitness company called Sudo, and I was doing fitness consulting for them. Pardon me. So I was doing fitness consulting for them at the same time. So that was the bulk of my income. The pandemic hit, it went to 14 classes a week to 1 class on a Saturday morning through Zoom.
Yeah.
So that money just went like that. Boom. But I was still doing the Sudo thing. But at the time, they were getting me to like make workouts for the app and all that stuff, but they weren't compensating me enough for the amount of work I was doing.
Yeah.
So I just said to them, look, man, like I can't do this anymore. I said to the gym, I'll keep doing 1 class a week because it's £25 a class. Like it's nothing. I'm literally getting nothing. And then from there, I was just like, so the pandemic happened, March 2020?
Yeah.
That was the day I remember because I was on the train.
Yeah.
And I remember on the train coming back, like, gym shut. I'm like, okay, cool. So about 2 months later, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do my own online coaching. And at the time, everyone was doing like the Zoom classes and Instagram classes, was London. His thing was just blowing up. People were doing that. But I didn't really want to do that. Firstly, I'm too lazy to be jumping around on camera. I hate doing that stuff. And for me, I don't really like doing group classes because how can I do a class for 30 people when you might have 2 different goals?
Yeah.
But everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And everybody's route to their fitness goal is different. Everybody's body's different.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that. So I was like, I could probably do something different here where I write individual programs, I write individual nutrition programs, and I hold you accountable, and you just got to go out there and execute. So that was like the basic of what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then it was just about how to actually put a system in place and get people to pay for it and market it and all that stuff. So that stuff I learned along the way, but I had the little idea, and then I just went with that. And I had like, basically when I started, I just hit up everyone I knew in my WhatsApp, innit? Just literally, I'm launching a new program. And actually a guy from the agency, Coda, he was the first one that signed up.
Yeah.
So he signed up like £100 a month. And one of the girls I was working with at F45, she signed up £80 a month. And once I just started it, like one thing led to another. And then from there, I actually paid for a mentor. And that was a scary investment, but it was a good investment because I learned once I had the mentor, it was like, Game mode.
Because I've seen the page grow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, this is mad. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So I've seen it. So yeah, nah, it's sick still. So like, okay, so that's how you got into fitness. But like, what's the importance of just working out, like just in general?
Yeah.
Like, what benefits does it have? Because there's some people who are like literally just couch potatoes. They don't do nothing.
Yeah.
But there's some people that literally just go work, go home, go out. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a good question.
Don't even run.
There's a million things I could say, but I'll start with obviously the health, innit? Because health is the main thing.
Yeah.
And we all know, especially with the pandemic over the last 2 years, that our obesity is one of the precursors for most metabolic diseases. So something like COVID, is taking people out. But if we look at the data, a lot of it shows that a lot of people that have died are probably clinically obese or they've had some other health issue with it. So we know that if you're not obese, if you're at a healthy weight range, you're less likely to die from something like that. Same thing with heart disease, high blood pressure, all these other things, diabetes, all these other things. So just from a health perspective, that's one of the main things. But then if we even look at it from like a social, psychological thing, it's like you feel better, man. Like I come across people where I think that sometimes if they did train a bit more, if they put some muscle on their body, like men and women, like they'll be more confident, man. They'll have more belief in in what they do.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of tell, I can kind of tell when I'm around people that they love their body, like they know what their body can do. Yeah. So I think just from a mental perspective, also like lower stress levels. Yeah. Like it's just gonna help you feel better and perform better in the day-to-day. And then there's different layers we can talk about, like why should parents work out? Well, your kids are running around, they're active. If I don't want to be a dad where I can't run around with my kid in the garden, bro. Like that's not good, bro. Or I don't want to be a mum where I can't even hold my daughters or my sons because I'm so weak. Like, and there's mums out there that are like that. Or there's women out there that they're so weak they can't hold their kids. I'm like, bro, well, maybe we should start lifting some weights, you know? So even from that perspective, obviously health is always going to be the main thing, man. Like,
I got a question before I go on to our main question, right? But I want to talk about like weight and kind of BMI. Because if I take my BMI,
you're overweight.
I'm obese.
I'm overweight. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm overweight as well.
Yeah,
so.
or overweight. I don't know.
Yeah, so cool. So that's a good question, man. So about over 65% of people in the UK are either overweight or obese, right?
Yeah.
But that percentage, that statistic is a little bit of a
gray area.
Yeah, because they're using the BMI to give people their rating, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're overweight. Because like from a BMI perspective, I'm overweight.
For those who don't understand, BMI is height and body weight, right?
Yeah, exactly. So body mass index, right? And all they do is take your height and your body weight. So the reality is you want to look at how much body fat you have.
Yeah.
So you could be...
But there's different types of body fat. I know there's visceral body fat and then there's, I don't know what the other one's called.
So, but really what you want to look for is what your body fat percentage is. That's really, for me, probably a bit more telling.
Yeah.
Because you can be 6 foot, 200 pounds, but 30% body fat versus 6 foot, 200 pounds and 15% body fat. That body is going to look completely different.
Yeah.
And one is going to probably be more metabolically active, more healthy. One's probably going to be a bit more, okay, we need to make sure that, you know, you're looking after yourself and start eating right. So that statistic of like 65% of people being overweight or obese is a little bit of like, it's a weird one because how many of those people in the overweight category have low body fats, but they're probably quite muscular?
Mm-hmm.
It's bare people. Like a lot of bodybuilders are considered obese, but they got mad low body fat, right? So it's a bit of a nuance.
But like a lot of bodybuilders, like they're hench, and they got the big bellies. Like their bellies are massive, but it's just rock hard abs. Like, why does that happen?
So obviously some of them are on steroids. Well, you know what? Most of the ones that you see competing, they're on steroids, bro. Yeah. They're on steroids, innit? Like, and they some of them won't admit it. Some of them will admit it, but they're on steroids. And it's, you know what it is? It's just because of all the size. They built so much muscle mass, and and obviously what they do is like they bulk, then they cut, and they bulk, and they cut, so on and so forth. So like there's no real reason for it. Some of it is genetic, some of it is just the way their body's built, some of them is just the way their training is. Yeah, like there's multiple layers to it, and also obviously the diet. The diet is always going to be.
Got you. So like, how should people be working out? So let's say let's say person's finished uni, they're working a 9-5. Like, what should they be doing? Should they be lifting more? Like, if they're just trying to just stay healthy and just stay slim, should they be doing more cardio? Should they be doing a balance of cardio and weights? Like, how should people work out?
Yeah, good question. So, obviously it's based on your goals, but if it's just health, then I would think of it like weight training is gonna sculpt your body and probably get you the body that you want, the one that you see on the magazines and the TV. That's what the weight training is gonna do for you. It's gonna provide you shape. If you're a woman and you want a nice bum and you want an hourglass figure, don't think about going on the Stairmaster all day or using resistance bands. You need to lift weights.
Yeah.
The cardio is what's gonna get. Either it's gonna help you maintain your current body weight, or if you want to lose weight, cardio is a great way just to lose overall weight. So sometimes people say they want to get in shape, and the first thing they do is they just run on a treadmill every day. But the problem is, all they're really doing is shrinking because they're losing muscle mass and they're losing body fat.
Yeah.
Whereas my personal opinion is to marry both. So my approach for most people would be, weight training. If you're going to train at least minimum 3 times a week, out of those 3 days, 2 days probably should be weight training, 1 day cardio. Then throughout that, make sure you're actually active throughout the day. So getting like 8,000, 10,000 steps, whatever it may be. People will say 10,000 steps, but I think the minimum should be at least 7. So I would marry the two. I'd have both, but I would view it as, okay, if I'm trying to build like shape to my body, weights is what you need. If you're just trying to lose weight, then go for cardio. If you're trying to do both, like you wanna lean up, then I would be doing cardio to make sure I can obviously stay in a calorie deficit, and then I'll be doing the weight training so that I could actually have a nice shape to my body.
Yeah.
And that's whether you're a man or a woman, because obviously there's also a lot of myths out there.
How long should people be doing, like, let's say the treadmill, how long should people run on the treadmill? Is it 20 minutes jog or like?
So that obviously varies, isn't it? That varies. But if it's just a health thing, I think you should be aiming to be able to at least be able to run consistently for at least 20, 30 minutes. Like that's just kind of, I feel like there's some baselines people should be aiming for.
Yeah.
So like if you can do a 5K in 30 minutes, 35 minutes, that's not bad. Like that's good timing for most people. Like, obviously the higher end you get, you got people doing 5Ks in 20 minutes, 18 minutes, but I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like those are some baselines. And especially if it's just health, if you're not trying to, you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you're not trying to compete in CrossFit or something, then you don't need to do the maddest thing. You just need to make sure you're good. So I would say if you can comfortably do a 5K, you're not stopping, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for most people.
Got you.
Oh, sounds good. Yeah. So in terms of SpectrumFit, where are you guys now? Like what's your offering? What are you guys doing? And also what can we kind of expect in the future as well?
Yeah. So yeah, from like a coaching perspective at the moment, we're really geared towards people that have come from a similar background, as in like they've been athletic or they've at least been in good shape before, but they've lost their way. So maybe they've got kids, maybe they've got a corporate job now, so they can't dedicate their time to training like they used to. So that's really where we've been like pushing our marketing towards, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and then even now kind of diving on YouTube a little bit as well. So that's kind of that. And then, so that's obviously, it's a 6-month program. You work with me or one of my coaching team on a like 1-to-1 basis. So I've just hired like 2 or 3 new coaches, which has been like been a bit of a process, which is hard, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So that's kind of the primary thing. But there's actually another expansion to the business that I'm currently working on with one of my best friends, which is actually mentoring other PTs to start doing online coaching. Because you'll be surprised, man. There's a lot of money to be made, man. Like, you like in my first year, I wasn't making a lot of money. Well, I was making decent money, but then, you get to a point where you see, okay, I made 5K this month. Then it's like, when you see, okay, you can make 10K a month from coaching online, like sitting in my bedroom, like it can be done.
Yeah.
So we're just thinking, well, we can keep coaching people, but also we can maybe show people the formula.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of where literally me and my best friend, we're literally in the process of just building that out. So we've got something for other coaches.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm sure some of our listeners would love to get involved as well. So where can they find you? Yeah, so TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. It's all literally Javen.SpectrumFit. So yeah, actually YouTube's SpectrumFit. Just SpectrumFit. But yeah, that's where you can find me, man. No, amazing. But so kind of looking back on your journey, like what is like one of the best advice you can give any of our listeners?
Oh, that's a good question. The best advice I will give you is is probably to listen more than you talk, man. That's probably the best advice I would give, because anyone that knows me, I'm hard-headed in it. Like, I've always been hard-headed. I'm just like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to try. If it don't work, then cool. But what I realize, especially as I get older as well, is like, the more that I'm like that, sometimes I'll turn around and go back to people that said, oh, you should have done it this way. And I didn't really take in their perspective. So that's probably one of the biggest things I would probably say is just listen more than you talk, man, because you never know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Cause I always say you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
For a reason. You know it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true.
It's mad.
It's true.
But one thing I do want to say, like, what obviously these listeners won't know is that obviously me and you went to the same secondary school.
Oh, nice.
And like, I just want to just take this opportunity to just commend you, do you know what I'm saying, on your journey. Because, bro, like, I've seen it from school, obviously kicking ball, obviously pre in the socials when you're in America, coming back and seeing your fitness page grow. And bro, like, done an amazing job, man.
Bro,
honestly, like, just keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate that, man.
Doing great things still.
What's got you excited in life right now? Like, what are you looking forward to?
Honestly, what I mentioned before about coaching the coaches, like, that's like a really important thing for me, man. And I even, like, I hate to always bring race into things, but a big part of it is coaching black coaches. And the reason that's important to me is just because I've been on 2 different mentorships where, you know, I spent a fair amount of money. And to be honest, I've never seen another black coach on these courses, bro. So I'll be on these webinars and there'll be like 30 of us in a webinar being tutored or mentored. And it's like, no, I'm the only black coach. Or me and my best friend are the only black coaches there. And I'm like, oh, we could do something like this.
Yeah.
But for our people, obviously we'll take on white people too. No, but I'm saying that, like, so that's...
I guess it's shown, like, and that's one thing, that's like when Alex kind of mentioned having you on a podcast, that's one thing I was excited for, because there's so many different opportunities there. Like you said, you're doing it from your bedroom, you're obviously meeting clients and stuff as well. But it's like, some people just don't know about it. That's why I'm really excited about this podcast, because when people are hearing alternative routes, like, they could be fitness lovers, they could be ex-players and stuff like that as well. So yeah, definitely.
So that's got me excited. Obviously, a couple like client stuff. So as part of my program, I do. Have you heard of Tough Mudder before?
Yeah, I've done the 5K one.
You did the 5K one. So with my clients, we're actually, as part of the program, they get invited to do a Tough Mudder for free. So they just got to show up. So we're doing a 10K one in May 22nd. So we need to start training for that. So So that's actually, I'm trying to do one in the States as well, because I've got quite a few clients stateside. I'm coming up to like almost 12 clients over in the States. So it's only right that I do one over there too. So I'm looking at booking a date in the second quarter for that as well. So that's going to be, those are the 2 things that got me. Yeah.
Nice.
It's going to be exciting.
Is it word of the week?
So as tradition, every episode we end with the word of the week for our listeners, because we put it on every Monday. So what's your word of the week or phrase of the week for our listeners?
My phrase of the week. You caught me cold here. Caught me cold. I've always got something good to say, but I'm gonna go with a word.
Okay.
It's perseverance, man. Perseverance. That's
why
my
perseverance?
Word of the week. Because no matter what you do, health, fitness, work, business, education, you're gonna get a knockback. But the people that rise, the cream will rise to the top. So if you quit, if you give up, then at that point you can no longer get to where you said you wanted to get to. So perseverance, you got to keep going, man, even when it's not easy.
That's it.
For sure.
Yeah.
There you have it, people. Perseverance. SpectrumFit.
Cool, man.
Javen, it's been great having you on the podcast.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And shout out to all our listeners. Thank you all for listening, subscribing, sharing us. We really do appreciate it.
Man.
As mentioned, the Hustle Smart 2022 plan is out now as well. So feel free to get on our websites as well.
And obviously, the budget spreadsheet is there to help you lot navigate your cost, navigate your budget. If you're saving towards a particular goal, use that spreadsheet, go buy that. You know, it's not that expensive. So,
but yeah, as always, guys, focus on things that move
the needle. Bow.